Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Promptings webinar. My name is Callie Teagard, and I am the Senior Field Advisor here at Promptings. Typically, I'm coming in live from Sugar Land, Texas. Tonight, I am right here at Promptings World Headquarters in South Jordan, Utah. We've got a big event this week. Lots of our affiliates are coming in, and I'm so excited that you are on here tonight to learn more about Promptings. I will tell you, I got started in this company several years ago. I was looking for a simple way to stay in touch with my customers, my connections. I wanted to build stronger relationships. I wanted to be able to reach out to my clients, say thank you, send birthdays cards, and send holiday cards. And when I found this system, I was amazed. I knew it was the answer to my prayers on helping me connect with people. What I didn't realize at the time was how this company, Promptings, was also going to help me connect with my purpose and put me on a pathway to prosperity. But before I get ahead of myself tonight, I want you all to meet our founder, Mr. Cody Bateman. He's our founder and chief visionary officer. And I'm going to let you hear from him in his own words why he started Promptings and the best way to act on your promptings. So Cody, take it away.
Hi, everybody. My name is Cody Bateman. I'm the founder of the Promptings movement. Appreciate you being with us tonight. I want to share with you a couple of stories. One is how this whole thing started in the first place and what our mission is and what we plan to do to change this world of ours by helping millions of people act on their promptings. We hope that you're one of them. So it all started back in 1989. I accepted a job offer. I just graduated from college and accepted a job offer to work for an ad agency in New York City. So when we accepted that job, we packed up all of our belongings. I was newly married at the time, had a little baby girl. We packed up all of our belongings, put it in a U-Haul truck. We were driving this little car of ours in front of the U-Haul truck. And we went over to my mom and dad's house to say bye to the family. So we said our goodbyes. And I remember coming out in the front of my parents' home, and we got into the car and we put little baby Whitney in her car seat, and Jody got into the passenger side, and I went to get into the car. And as I went to get in, I looked over in a lot adjacent to my parents' home. My older brother, Chris, was moving some vehicles around in this lot. And at that moment, I had what I call a prompting, an intuitive thought that I needed to stop what I was doing, go over to my brother, give him a hug, tell him I love him, and say goodbye. That was the prompting. And we were in a hurry. There were people waiting for us. There was another couple that was moving with us that was driving the U-Haul truck. And we all needed to leave. And so what do you think happened? I ignored the prompting. I remember getting in the car and driving away, and I honked and waved at my brother as we drove off, and he waved back at me. I'll never forget the look on his face. And we drove away, and we drove all the way across the country, moved into our new home in New York City area. And a couple of months went by and everything was going well until one night I got a phone call about 2:00 in the morning. And my mother was on the other end of that line, and she tearfully let me know that my brother Chris had just been killed in an accident. Now, that was devastating news. In fact, I remember when I got that news, the first thing I thought of is that I had this prompting that I needed to say bye to him, and I ignored it. So at that very moment, I made a promise to my brother Chris, to myself and to my brother Chris. I said to him, I said, I'm sorry, brother, that I ignored that prompting. And I promise you that when I have promptings to reach out in kindness to others, I will act. And I'll do all I can to help as many people as I can do the same thing. That was in 1989. Excuse me. That's when this whole thing started. That was the dream that was put into my mind at that moment. And everything I did from that day forward was to figure out how to deliver the promise. I needed to act on my promptings. I needed to help other people act on their promptings. Now, keep in mind, this is a long time ago. This is in 1989. It was even pre-internet days. We didn't even have the internet back then. So the concept and idea that I had was I had to find a way to help people act on their promptings. And I knew that for myself, the way for me to express myself, my appreciation, my kindness to others, it was a lot easier for me to write those things. Like if I wrote somebody a message in a card, it was a lot easier for me to express myself in a card than it was verbally. So I figured early on that whatever I did, it was going to have something to do with greeting cards, because a greeting card was a simple way for me to act on a prompting. If I had a prompting to say thank you to somebody, I could quickly send them a card with the words of kindness in them. So I started doing all kinds of things pre-internet days to try to figure out how to do that. You can't even imagine the things that we tried to do, but this thing called the internet came along. And when the internet came along and I saw the possibilities of the internet, the light bulb went on that, man, if there was a way that you could send a real greeting card over the internet. So if I could call up the internet and pick a card and type in a message and click it, and somehow it went over the internet to a printer and the printer would print it and send it for me, man, that would be cool. So we went on a long journey to try to figure out how to do that. We actually pioneered the technology that calls for through the internet for variable print on demand on printers. Nobody had done that before us. And we did that back in 2001 and 2001 and 2. So we finally had created what I call a mechanism. We created a mechanism to help people act on their promptings. And what it was is the mechanism allowed me as a person to go onto the internet, onto the mechanism, and choose a greeting card and be able to type a message into the greeting card and then put in an address for that person and push the send button. And then over the internet, it would go to our printers. We would stuff it, stamp it, and mail it out for you. And we started doing this way back in 2002 was when we first started doing this over the internet. Nobody had done it before. So it was a powerful mechanism. In fact, once we had the mechanism to do this, I wanted to start changing my habits and other people's habits. The habit I wanted to create was I sent cards to people every single day. So one of the habits that I had was is that the first person I thought of, I would send a card to. And I'm going to share a story about this card right here. So I got up one morning and my habit was first person that comes to mind. The first person that came to mind that day was a lady by the name of Pat Chase. She does the music at the church I went to. So I went to my mechanism that we had created. We had about, I don't know, maybe 100 saved greeting cards in there. And this was one of them. And it says beauty on the front. So I picked this card. It says beauty on the front. And inside it said things are beautiful if you love them. So I want you to watch the words that I wrote in this card to Pat Chase, who does the music at the church. So right from my computer over the internet, I typed these words. I said, Pat, just a quick note to let you know, I appreciate what you do for us at the church. You make music beautiful, and I'm a better person for it. Your friend, Cody. That's simple. And I clicked the send button and sent it off to her. Now I want to explain to you what happened when she received the card. A couple of weeks went by and I show up at church and she comes up to me and says, Cody, first of all, I want to thank you for this card you sent me. And I want to tell you what happened the day I received it. She says, I got up in the morning and I went into the front room of my house. I was going to pick up the receiver of the telephone, my intent was to call the leader of the church to let him know that I was no longer going to do the music at the church. She said, I don't remember a time when somebody thanked me for the service I provided. The only thing I got were complaints as to why I didn't play this music or that music. She says, and I was really frustrated. And so I was about to quit. She said, but something told me to go get the mail first. Now we know that that's called a prompting. She was prompted to go get the mail first. So she did. She hung up the receiver of the phone, did not make the phone call. She went out to her mailbox. The only piece of mail on a Thursday morning was this card. She opened up the envelope from her mailbox, read this card that you're looking at. She says, Cody, I want you to know that I was at my mailbox and I openly wept, she said. And I want you to know that when I went back in the house, I did not place the phone call, and I'm not going to place the phone call. I will keep doing the music of the church, and I will never, ever, ever forget you for how you made me feel with that card. Thank you very much. That's the power of acting on promptings. Now, we've come a long ways since then. Our job now is to help millions of people act on their promptings every single day. A big thing that we tell people is to send heartfelt messages of kindness, just like the story I just shared with you. We have thousands of people all over the world that are doing this. They're sending heartfelt messages of kindness to people. Now, you don't think that can change the world? It's changing the world. Millions of promptings have been acted upon, and we're just barely getting started. But here's the beauty of it. When you send these messages of kindness, there's amazing positive energy that comes back to you, the sender. And when that energy comes back to you, the sender, it really taps into who you are and what you're meant to do as a person. It's an amazing feeling to have. All you got to do is send kindness to people every day. It creates appreciation energy, and you begin to appreciate who you are as a human being. So we ended up creating a mechanism that really connects you with two key things. And we call that the promptings process. And the promptings process allows you to connect with people on the right side of the screen and with purpose on the left side of the screen. And that's what this is. So when you send out kindness to others, you're connecting with people all the time. You know, we've become the best relationship marketing tool in the world today because of this. Because a lot of businesses use us to follow up with their clients or customers. But what we teach is to send heartfelt messages to them. There's system cards that will do it automatically too. But the best way to create genuine human connection is these heartfelt messages. So over the years, we became the best relationship marketing tool on the planet because we had a way for you to act on promptings and appreciate people that you did business with. So that's just one example of how this promptings process connects you with people. But guess what? It also connects you with purpose, because that energy is coming back to you as a person. It ignites your inner voice that tells you who you are as a person, that connects you with your purpose. Okay, it brings up that whole new energy of who you are as a person. And we have since created all kinds of tools and different things to help you to nourish that inner voice, to nourish those inner promptings. Some of the best personal development programs on the market today come from promptings, because we have ways to teach you to use this process, this mechanism, to initiate positive law of attraction principles in your life. It's an amazing thing. So if you utilize this, if you use the mechanism to reach out to others, you can use the same mechanism to reach to yourself. What it does is creates a pathway to prosperity for you. That's where we've come. We started it just to send cards to people, but it ended up being what you have on this screen today. Now, I'm going to turn the time back to our host. We have numerous people that are going to share their stories with you tonight of how the mechanism and how the process has transformed their life. Thank you for spending the time with me tonight, and you're in good hands with our host and with some amazing people that act on their promptings every day. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Cody. I appreciate you sharing this. You guys here at Promptings, right? Cody talked about the relationship marketing tool. That's what I was looking for. That's why I started using the prompting system and the promptings mechanism. And what I learned was that energy that came back to me, and really that inner voice to tell me who I am, and put me on a pathway to really learn about that and make better choices and act on my promptings, because that's what promptings is really all about. So I want to share with you guys real quick our promptings website. When we're done here today, I want you to get back with the person who invited you onto this webinar. Ask them to take you to their promptings.com website. But again, as we said, acting on your promptings is all about appreciating others and attracting prosperity into your life. Promptings are those intuitive thoughts that call on you to take positive action. And promptings will create genuine human connection and guide you to your personal genius. If you haven't yet, we'd love for you to send a card on our system. The person who invited you can help you do that. And then, as Cody said, the best way to act on your promptings is through our promptings mechanism. Our promptings mechanism is fueled by send out cards. It's an amazing system. I have two guests on here tonight to share their stories using the promptings mechanism, using those heartfelt cards to build connection. And I want you to listen to those stories. And no matter what business you are in, you could be in insurance, real estate, any type of business, sales. Think about the connection if you did these things in your business or in your life, right? If you're looking to make better personal connections, if you reached out, just like these ladies tell you their stories, what that's going to do to build connection in your life and in your business. So our first guest tonight is Kanefsky. I have known Karen for a little while, and you guys, she just lights up any room that she comes into. She's got a couple amazing stories. I asked her to be on as I heard these stories not long ago. We were on a webinar together. So Karen, if you want to come on and share your stories, I would love to have you.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much, Kelly, for inviting me on to share a couple stories. I appreciate that very much. Okay, so I'm going to start my stories with just how do I even think of what cards I'm going to send that day. And I am in the habit of sending cards every day. It's just, I wake up and it's what I do. I find something to celebrate in someone's life. And I've done it for years and it just makes me feel great. But what you get back is pretty amazing too. So this card is one that I have a friend, her name is Cheryl, and she actually lost her dog a while ago. And she finally broke down and got a brand new puppy, which I saw this on Facebook and I just downloaded that picture and I made this card. And I wrote the card and it said, Cheryl, congratulations on finding another precious puppy to love. Poppy is absolutely adorable. The bond you share will continue to strengthen with each passing day as you embark on countless adventures together. Wishing you and Poppy a future filled with boundless love, unforgettable moments, and cherished companionship. May your days be filled with laughter, cuddles, and the sheer joy of having another four-legged friend by your side. With love and puppy snuggles, Karen. Well, I sent her this card, and I got a text in a few days later. And on that text, it said, oh my goodness, you sent me the most wonderful card. I love it. So I'm reading you the text. And that was on a Sunday. And I just said, thank you so much. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And might I say, you can go to the next pictures. You will see on the left-hand top side, she sent me that picture that day, how she displayed it. And she was so proud. And she said, I've displayed it. And then on Tuesday, that was Sunday, on Tuesday, I get another email. Text. I am so bummed. I should not have displayed the card on the wall unit. And as you can see why, there you go. She goes, well, Poppy read her card. I said, then she writes to me, could you please make me another so I can save it? I'm happy to pay for a duplicate. And I just thought that was just amazing. And so then sending a duplicate is very easy because you get all your history, which is fabulous. And I just found the card and you can hit resend and boom, out it goes. So I sent her and she gets the card. And a few days later, she says, thank you, you're the best. And she has to send me another picture of one high up on a different shelf where she now keeps her puppy card. So that was a very special, obviously this meant really a lot to her for her to, show me what happened and ask me to, and right up there with the pictures of her family. So I felt quite blessed by that. So that was one of my stories. And this is the next story. So there's a gentleman that I've known, well, I knew him when he was a kid, actually. We went to school together and his name is Steven. And Steve, he we sort of knew each other in school, then we didn't know each other for a long time, and then eventually we became friends through. I would visit back to my hometown, which was Baltimore, and I see him, believe it or not, when I would visit. I stayed in a hotel that had a gym, and he was a member there, and we started talking, got his information. I always got his birthday because I love sending out birthday cards. So anyway, I sent him cards for years after that, and I sent him birthday cards and holiday cards and different things. But this particular day, I was on my Facebook and I saw that his son got engaged, and the pictures are stunning. He asked his woman friend Ellie. His son asked his friend Ellie on the top of this rooftop restaurant in Washington, D.C. How gorgeous is that? So I put that on the front of the card. I didn't write anything on it. I just thought, oh, that picture just says everything. And then when you open it, you can see it says, she said yes, and the beautiful couple, and just wrote a very short note congratulating them and wishing them the best. And sent it off, didn't think twice about it. Now, this gentleman happened to be the father who I sent it to, happens to be work in marketing for pretty large companies. Well, I don't think he's ever called me, honestly. Well, he found my phone number and he called me up and he said, okay, I get it now. He goes, you've been sending me cards for years. I was so moved by this. And he basically said to me, I'm so moved by it. He gave it a name. He calls these kind of cards the one-offs. And he says, this isn't a stock card. This isn't something that is sending out to everybody. He goes, my companies that I work with are going to start sending one-offs, which always cracked me up. So he just keeps introducing me to people, all the time. And, it's made a huge difference in his life and in my life. And we actually work together and we do calls together. It's sort of fun. So that's my stories.
I love that, right? It's amazing the connection that you can build, and no matter what business you're in, right? He calls them the one-offs card. We call them the heartfelt prompting cards, right? But it's that top of mind awareness and that connection, celebrating other people, their families, their lives, is what makes them think of you, right? No longer as, oh, you're a business person trying to sell something, but someone that truly cares. And you know what? I want to help them.
Right. He recognized that when that came. He's like, okay, this is what we need to do. This is what brings the relationships of people together. And when you're in a business, the whole goal is about the relationships of the people and having the trust and the respect and the caring. And then,
right. It's all about building that connection. So
yeah,
Karen, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your stories with us this evening. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And our next guest on tonight is Iles. Edie, I know you've had some amazing stories as well. You've been using this system for years, both you and Karen, and have even been published. We used to publish some of our stories, and the one story that you are going to share tonight is quite a bit in the past, but really powerful on what the system does in building relationships and creating connection.
Yes, as a matter of fact, when you invited me, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here, but when you invited me, I was like, oh dear, there's so many stories, and it's funny. I get text messages or phone calls almost daily from people that I send cards to. I got a couple of them today, and it's just it's what lights my fire and it's what keeps me going. But yeah, I've got a couple of great stories, and I'm not a very eloquently word for words. I most of my cards are very short and sweet, but I'm always sending cards with part of my heart. And this particular card I had sent to this friend of mine that I had used to work with years ago in Colorado. I sent this card to her, and about a year after I sent the card to her, she sent me a text message. And she says, "Hi, Edie, I want to thank you again for the card that you sent me about a year ago. It was from a trip to see my dad in Florida. The card had photos of my dad. About 3 weeks ago, our computer crashed and I lost thousands of pictures. Since my dad passed away this week, I was scrambling to find any picture of him that I had. And then I found your card. The card is currently hanging on my refrigerator. Thank you for your thoughtfulness." And that's, that's something that you just can't, there's no price, you can't put a price tag on something like that. It's just, this was she lost all of her pictures from her dad, but she has this one. And we just never know, what an impact our cards are going to have on the recipient. And this was just a very, very special message that she had sent me about the card that I had sent her a year ago. So that's one of my heartfelt cards. This young girl that's on the right of this card, her name is Shandi. And the last time I saw Shandi, she was about 10 or 11 years old, something like that. I was really good friends with her mom and dad, and that's them in the picture as well. And things just happened. We were good friends, but they moved away. We moved away, lost touch with each other. And of course, Facebook was, said Shandi is somebody that I may know. So I made friends with Shandi on Facebook, and we, started the conversation back and forth. And she had posted this picture on Facebook of her and her mom and dad. And it was around Mother's Day. And I sent her I took the picture. I asked her for her mailing address. I sent it to her. And then I received the sweetest message from her. She said, "Happy dance. You are simply the best. I got the happiness you sent yesterday. I can't tell you how much joy you infused with that. It means the world to me that through time, states, husbands, and everything else, our kindred spirits have never wavered from each other. Thank you for loving me back and sharing your beautiful light. Hope you're basking in it too." And when you receive messages like that, it's just, there again, you can't put a price tag on that. I mean, I haven't seen her since she was 10 years old, and she's a woman now. She's 40 something years old now. And the connections that our cards create is invaluable. And it means more to me. Every day it means more to me than it does to the people that I send them to. But one of the things that I do when I send out my heartfelt cards, even though I don't have these beautiful, elegant words to put on the cards, a piece of my heart goes with it. And I always imagine what the recipient is going to see or feel when they receive the card. If they've never received a card from me before, I know that they're going to be curious. Their curiosity is up, and it's like, what am I getting this card for? And then when they open it, hopefully, they have a warm feeling and a smile on their face. But I know that if I've sent them cards before in the past, that all they have to do is look at the envelope, and their heart's going to warm. They're going to have a smile on their face because they know that it's a special gift from me, and it's from my heart. And that's what I imagine with every card that I ever send out. And that's exactly what it does. It just warms my heart. And I know that I'm putting out good to the world. This next one, I can't promise you that I'm not going to tear up with this one. The picture on the front of the card is me and my aunt and uncle. And I had found out that my uncle had cancer, and they weren't expecting him to live. And I hadn't seen them in a while. So I made a trip, to visit them. And we just had a wonderful time. My aunt is really a character. She loves to cut up, and she loves to joke around. And My husband did too. He loved to joke and cut up, and they just hit it off famously. They just had a great time together. She made us a nice lunch, and we looked through old pictures, and it was just a beautiful day that we spent with my aunt and uncle. And of course, as soon as I got home, the first thing I wanted to do was make a nice card and tell her how much I appreciated the time together. My husband was a photographer, so he liked to play around with Photoshop. And he handed me this picture, this ugly picture that you see on the inside. And he told me that he wanted me to put that in the card. And I said, I don't want to put that ugly picture of my aunt in that card. This is a really nice, heartfelt card from me, and I don't want to put that ugly picture. He said, I told her that I was going to really fix her up. And he said, I want you to put that in there. So I did, and I sent the card off to my aunt and uncle. And then a few days later, my aunt called. And she says, she's a country girl, and she says, Ada, I want to tell you about that card we got in the mail. And I'm thinking, oh, she's going to be so upset with me for sending that ugly picture of her. She said that particular day that they received the card, my uncle was not feeling well, and he had been in bed all day. She went out to the mailbox and picked up the mail, and she said he had several cards, get well cards from other people, and she opened them all up, and she put them in a stack, and she brought them into the bedroom to see if he wanted to read the cards, and he said no, he just didn't feel like reading the cards that day. She said, well, you have to read the one from Edith. That's what they call me, Edith. So he said okay, and he looked at the card with a nice picture of the three of us on the outside. She said he grinned and nodded his head. And then when he opened the inside of the card and saw that ugly picture of my aunt, she said he just let out a big belly laugh. And then she paused and she said, it's been a long time since I've heard him laugh like that. And I just want to tell you, thank you for the card. And we just don't know the impact that our cards make on people. He died a few months after that, and that's the last time that she ever heard him belly laugh like that. She kept that card on her nightstand for a long time, and every time she looked at it, she thought about him and his big belly laugh. And it's just something that you can't replace. You can't make up those emotions. And our cards are really not only do something for the recipients, but they do something for us. And this card was a long time ago. It was several years ago. I've been in sent out cards for 15 years, and this is probably one of the first cards that I ever sent my aunt. But, it's a story that's very touching, and it means a lot to me, and it continues to mean a lot to me. And I always like to share it because I think that people need to understand that our cards are really, really special. It's not just a card. It's a feeling that we get when we give it and when they receive it.
Thank you, Edie, for sharing. I know that story is touching, and every time you tell it, it creates tears. You can tell the impact your uncle and aunt had on you and your life. And you never know the power of the card you're going to send, right? Your first story about how you sent that when you saw that photo on a Facebook, and a year later, she reaches out because of the power. And having lost my parents, if I lost all my photos, I would, keep that card, right? I have cards of people sent me of my parents that are framed. And then the story of your aunt, right? This system is all about connection. And what I love about your stories is it's the connection, but it's also told you who you are, right? And you talked about putting a piece of your heart in every single card, and that you think about that when you send that. And I know that this company has not only connected you with people, but also has connected you with your purpose by acting on your prompting. So thank you so much for sharing your story today.
Thank you.
Thank you. So everyone, I'm so glad that you joined us here and heard these stories tonight. We would love for you to join us here at Promptings. There's multiple ways that you can get started with us. When we're done here, I want you to get back with the person who invited you onto this webinar. They can help answer any questions you have and help you determine what's the best way for you to get started with Promptings. One way, really simple, is our Promptings mechanism. We have a 10-card challenge. It's 10 cards in 20 days for $20. A heartfelt prompting cards, 10 of those, anywhere in the world, stamps included. And it's not just 10 lives changed, it's 11, because we know by using this system and reaching out to others in kindness, it changes your life as well. We also have our prompting mechanism, our heartfelt prompting cards. We have a $37 subscription for 20 cards a month plus discount on our gifts. We have a 97 unlimited heartfelt prompting option. No matter if you send 1, 3, 5, 7, 10 of those heartfelt prompting cards a day, they're included. On our other options, we have system cards. We didn't talk about that a lot tonight. But system cards are where you can go in and you can create one card and send it out to an entire group of people. You can schedule your cards out. If you love everything you hear and you really are excited about promptings, let me introduce you to our promptings process package. This gives you our first month of our 97 unlimited heartfelt cards. It gives you 100 system cards to get started. It gives you a virtual assistant to help you get everything set up. It gives you our prompting seminar. This helps put you to connect with your purpose, helps with that pathway to prosperity. You also get a coach to help implement everything. Again, as I mentioned, we have something for everyone here at Promptings. Now, you may have heard that we have people coming in. We do have an affiliate option here at Promptings. If you're interested in learning more about that, about getting paid to share this with others, please ask the person who invited you to share more about that option with you as well. So again, here at Promptings, there's multiple ways to get started. No matter if you're using this just to build connections in your personal life, if you're looking to build connections in your business life, if you want to find your purpose and get a pathway to prosperity, we have something for everyone. So again, get back with that person who invited you on this webinar, get your questions answered, and get started today, because we would love for you to join us here at Promptings. So let me be the very first person to welcome you to Promptings. Thanks, everyone. Good night.